Now, what inspired you to write A Bug-Free Mind? You know, all these beautiful babies. What inspired you to write these books?
I was I was sitting there. I realised I was writing these articles, and people were loving them and that sort of thing. And I was getting a lot of feedback from. It was only a small community site, about 200-300 people, and I was getting all this feedback saying, "This is amazing." You know, how I didn't know. You know, I taught them no mind technique, and I talked about how to accept what is, and you know, a few other things, how to remove all negativity from life and all that sort of thing. And I wrote all this stuff down, and I was getting a real pleasure from writing it, and I was getting a real pleasure from helping people change their lives. And you know, it's I suddenly realised that I got my most pleasure not when I succeeded. It's like, because it's almost inevitable. You know, once you well, it is inevitable. It's you just, there's a process. Success is a process, and once you know the process, you can replicate it. And so success to me was like, yeah, this is great. There was a good buzz from it, you know, but I didn't get ecstatically happy. I didn't cry when I succeeded or anything like that. But I get an email through from somebody who just managed to get rid of depression, and their relationship with their husband or wife was so much better, or they were now not going to get divorced, and their children were loving them more. They were contacting them more, and that sort of thing. You know, I'd sit there and it'd be like, wow, this makes me feel so good. And so I was getting those sort of things through, and I thought, I really like this. I'm getting so much pleasure from helping people. You know, I'm getting paid to do it, but I'm getting a lot of pleasure from it. And I thought, well, I can succeed at whatever I do. Therefore, is this going to help? You know, and what actually inspired me was I sat there and thought, I was teaching my children to succeed. And I thought, I've got to write this stuff down for my children just in case I die or something like that. And I sort of thought, well, hang on a minute, what's going to happen? And I started to look at the world from a different point of view. And I saw that there were so many people, you know, I worked out that the world had a maths problem. There were so many people breeding people that were causing more pain, not meaning to. This wasn't intentional. This was happening by accident. And there was too few people breeding people to cure the problem, who had the knowledge, the wisdom to be able to fix things and have a great life. And I suddenly realised that over time, because I sat there and I'm quite good with Excel, and I just did a quick maths calculation, and I looked at it and thought, by the time 3, 4, 5 generations down the line, my descendants will be overwhelmed by people doing it the wrong way rather than people doing it the right way. And I'd realised that the personal development books weren't working for people. So what was the problem? Figured out what the problem was, knew I could do something about it. And then all of a sudden, I got this wave of what I've since found out is responsibility. And this responsibility came over me that people were looking for the solution. People were looking for an end to suffering, as Buddha put it. They were looking for a way out of the pain, all of the pain from life, and to have a great life and to achieve their dreams. And I was sitting there and I had the answer sitting inside my head, right? And I didn't realise until I looked at it that it was sitting there. And so then all of a sudden this responsibility came over me, and I went, I've got to do this now. And so I felt, but then I thought about it, and I thought, well, what do I get out of this? And, you know, I looked at all the emails that were coming in, and it just suddenly realised that it felt that this was it. I was studying, looking for my purpose at the time, and it just came over me, and it just felt so right that was it. I was inspired. I was inspired to take action then, and that was it. I just sat there, and when I wrote my first book, it was under 20 hours. These books took 9 months because I loved every minute of it. I didn't want to stop. When it came close, I think I wrote in the second book that when it was coming close to the end, I didn't want it to stop. Didn't want it to end because I was enjoying it so much.
So hang on, it took you say 20 hours to write the first book, right?
No. I wrote another best-selling book before these, and it's all about how to make money out of property.
Okay.
And
so that was the one that took you 20 hours to write.
That was the one that took me 20 hours. These took me 9 months. The ones you've got on the screen, they took me 9 months.
Awesome. Because I was going to say,
no, I couldn't have done that in 20 hours.
I was going to say, look at this beautiful baby over here, right? It took me, it's 2 books, right? 1 and 2. So the first one is to get rid of all the crap in your mind. And the second one is how you can use your mind actually once it's cleaned, right? Once it's purified. Anyway, I have finished this one here. It took me a year to read the bloody thing.
Don't tell people
So
that, right?
it took
Doing
me.
it.
No, but that's the thing. That's the thing. You know what? Because this is the thing, guys. When you buy a book, I know this is what happened to me. What happened? What used to happen to me anyway. I buy a book, any book, right? So I get the book, and I'm feeling anxious because okay, I have a new book, right? I can't wait to start reading the book. So I start reading the book, and once I start reading the book, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, okay, I have to finish this book as quick as possible. You know, I have to finish the book. What happens? You finish the book, and then what do you do next? Well, the next thing is to buy another book, to jump on the next book, right? So that's what happens. That's what used to happen to me. And I didn't notice that until, you know, I started reading things. So what happened with this was, sorry, I need to interrupt you. What happened with this was that I was reading it, okay? And I had to stop every 2 or 3 pages. I couldn't go any further. Why? Because it's not about reading it. It's about studying it and actually apply it. So these techniques are so interesting and powerful, and you can actually improve your life, you know, after every second page. And I'm not joking. I was like, bloody author, because I didn't know you at the beginning. I was a bloody author. What's his name? Andy Show, bloody Andy. You know, every 2 pages I had to stop to study the thing I actually applied. I'm going to show you something, right? This is my mobile phone. This is my iPhone, right? And this is my case. So that's the gift that I had for Father's Day, right? So anyway, but what I want to show you is, look at these notes. So these are the notes that I know you can't read a thing, but these are the notes that I take that I took from the book. So it goes forever. So that's what I had to do. I had to stop and take in all these notes. And because what happens if I'm away, if I'm traveling or whatever, and I don't have the books with me or for some reason, I can always go to my mobile phone and check all the important notes. Okay. So this is what I call my, I don't know, my golden book or something. And look at that. That goes forever. The bloody thing. So
I think the thing is, it's, you know, when I talk to people about it, they look at it and think, well, it's a book and that sort of thing. It's a process. It's a way of, because what's going on is we're all born with a naturally successful mindset, and what happens over time is that gets wiped out of us. But nobody's ever taught us how to think. Now, this is why, you know, the country was obviously interested in putting it into their education system, because they took one look at it and went, well, if we put this into children, you know, the end result is they're going to be more successful, which is exactly what's happened with my children. My children, they think somewhat differently because they're, you know, I've not allowed bugs in their mind, so I've taken the bugs out. But people think you can learn this. You know, another problem you brought up there very, very well was the knowledge. The trouble is the acquisition of knowledge is not the answer, because otherwise, you know, the most successful people on the face of the planet would be the professors, because they acquire knowledge at a vast rate. So the acquisition isn't the answer. So the answer has to be something else, and it has to be the application. So, right, okay, well, how do I get people to apply it? And so that was it, and that all came about because my dad was a teacher, and this is what tripped me to understand why people couldn't succeed with success books and, you know, personal development books, because the success teacher is teaching it, and they can clearly do it, you know, because I read those books and they work for me because my mindset is the same as theirs. And so I'd read those books and go, yep, that's pretty good, that's brilliant, great technique, yep, apply that. Whereas most people have got the mindset that this isn't going to work, or I'm trying to do it. Well, I'm not trying to succeed, I'm just succeeding. There is no trying, it's just done. But I was struggling once to learn something in my maths at school. My dad was a teacher, and he came over and he said, my mum said to him, go and help your son with the maths. And he came over and he taught me, and I went, no, I don't understand it. I can't do it that way. And so he taught me a slightly different way, and I got it straight away when he taught me slightly different. And he said, I said, well, why didn't my teacher teach me that way so that I understood it? He said, well, it's the teacher's job to teach it in a way that the student will understand, not the student's job to understand what the teacher's trying to teach them. Yeah? That was it. And the bug-free mind is all about the way it's written, which is what it makes you think so much, is because I've written it in a way that makes you think and makes it applicable. So it's almost impossible. You know how it's almost impossible to not apply some of the things.
Yeah, it's yeah.
That's it.
It's just like a drug in a good way. It's awesome.
If someone wants to really up-level their standard of the quality of life, their vision of personal growth and achievement in terms of business success or family relationships or personal growth, I mean, it's phenomenal. It is transformative.
Since reading the books, I don't judge people. I don't worry about anything. I've got the techniques to, if anything comes into my mind, I think, well, that's not helping me. So I don't worry. I don't get stressed. I live in the now, and just a lot more peaceful. And I just feel that life's going the right way.
I have found out that things like stress, fear, anxiety, these things are illusions. And when situations come up in your life, if you can actually just refer back to at least learning those things that you've learned through the books, it makes your life much easier, it makes your life better, and it starts, in my case, to put me on a better path.
As everything really valuable in life, most things are really simple, and it's all about finding the things that you love to do, and the financial benefit is a byproduct of that. Yeah.
Who he is being just speaks volumes. There's a wisdom, there's a knowledge, and there's a real generous sharing of the heart that comes across that makes all the difference in the world.
So his philosophy is different to other personal development books because he shows the practical way of personal development or his concept.
And one useful thing I've done through reading the books is to actually stop watching TV like a robot, and it's freed up time for me to do things like read books, which I think will do me far more good than just sitting in front of the TV watching a whole string of programs that I never even remember or do me any good.
My mind had been shifted significantly. I understand more about a lot of things. My mind opened more, and I know for sure that by applying these techniques, I'm living my design.
I like the way he delivered it in simple language so that the lay person in it can understand.
There's a system in place that teaches, it shows us that if we follow these steps and apply it with vigilance and commitment, it's possible to have a real powerful transformation.
Since I've read the books, my worries and fears have all gone. I am 100% happier, and I live my life to the full.
So it gives you a purpose and a sort of focus, and perhaps a start and end point, so you know exactly where you're going to. Because the hardest part of any journey is actually taking the first step.
So, yeah, I do know that it's going to change things radically on all fronts. Whatever you want can happen, actually.
Just do it. It's just to take you to that level. You'll know what you want, or if you don't know what you want, you'll know how to find out what you want. You'll know how to get the things that you want in your life, and you'll have great fun.
We can learn and understand things, but when we actually learn to know it and integrate it and apply it in what we're doing in our lives, anything is possible, and that is so exciting.